Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on this particular program, it's the Fat Ball Perspective for episode 2 of season 23 of the all-new Top Gear. I had no plans on doing a review of episode 2, but after getting to watch this particular episode and having a couple of days to kind of sit on it, I'm pretty impressed, and this is something I feel kind of bad about. I said the first episode was really good, but there's only one word I can say about the second episode, and that's fantastic. In fact, that may be a little bit because they set the bar so low because of the first episode, but really, the second episode was really great, which I'm really stunned, and I kind of feel bad that I gave the first review of the first episode such a big ovation. Maybe I didn't do that much, but it really wasn't near as good as what this second episode was all about. And that's the real trick of this deal, is if they had all these shows in the can, somebody obviously should have seen episode 2 and thought, this one looks a lot better than the first episode we got planned now. Why don't we switch them? Because there's no reason not to. There's no sort of lineage in between each one of these episodes. There's no kind of story arc that goes in between all 6 episodes, 7 episodes. So it's just kind of weird. But man, the second episode really was a lot smoother. It wasn't without its faults. A lot of the flips to some of the various segments was kind of, I don't know, a little bit sketchy. That's still a little bit new to some of these guys anyway. The Reasonable Price car segment was kind of wonky, having 4 people on the couch. Yet only 2 people drove the car. That was kind of weird to me as well. Let's just go right off the bat. Okay, let's talk about the 675 Longtail McLaren version where they had Jenson Button and Chris Evans. That was wildly entertaining. Very enjoyable, the back and forth between those two, flopping around all over the Top Gear test course. Getting to see the Stig behind the wheel of the Longtail as well was pretty entertaining as well, especially that kind of lap. Then they jump into the real meat of the program, the big segment of the program where they're going to do this long story arc inside of this one episode, which was all about 3 off-roaders, 3 musicians, the 3 presenters, the first time we ever get to see Eddie Jordan. I've known Eddie Jordan for years and years and years. Not personally, obviously, but, this guy has been he's been a real flamboyant guy in the Formula One world. And this is maybe kind of his first foray outside of the Formula One eye into something a little bit more mainstream, even though it's still in the automotive world. I found him just to be a little bit off, but that's being said, if this is really his first time at this go-round, it's going to take him some time to kind of feel comfortable inside of his skin, at least on camera as far as that's concerned. These challenges were very entertaining, very enjoyable. It was kind of a simple style deal, not to mention, goodness gracious, that the sight lines that you got to see in the South African views were just breathtaking, and the filming was excellent as usual, and it just felt smooth. It felt like it moved along at a nice pace. There was a lot of laughs, a lot of enjoyment. It was pretty doggone good. The Reason Price car segment I've already talked about. That was kind of a little bit on the weird side, but still a nice little break inside of the action. And I just felt like the show moved along with a brisk pace, and it felt like it was all together. It, oddly enough, didn't feel a lot like Top Gear, or at least not like the Top Gear that we've all known and loved. And obviously, this show isn't near as good as those 3 idiots that were on the last go-round of this particular program. But I really feel that these folks are starting to hit their stride just a tad bit. There's still a little bit of tension, it seems like, between Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc, at least in the in-studio segments. I don't know if that whole rumors about them being at odds with each other is exactly true, but it seems like that these guys are maybe getting on song. We'll have to wait and see. The Extra Gear segment was pretty good. I didn't think as good as the first go-round for Extra Gear, but the real star of this whole grouping, to me, has to be Rory Reid. Rory Reid is exactly what Chris Evans said. When he announced it on his radio show, he said this guy's going to bring some warmth to the show. this is the kind of guy that you would like to sit down and have a beer with. It just seems like that he's that kind of guy. I think he's doing an absolutely amazing job. I've seen only a couple of his reviews on the old YouTubes. I thought he did a pretty good job there, but it seems like he's hitting his stride with this style and this format of programming. Would love to see these guys get a second go round at a season 24 of this franchise, but I'm wondering if the writing is on the wall. Episode 1 got 4.4 million viewers inside of Europe for the first opening episode. Episode 2 got 2.8 million viewers. They lost almost half of their viewership. And if it continues on this downward trajectory through the next several episodes, I'm wondering if they aren't going to make some serious changes, they being the BBC. So this is going to be a big wait and see moment. It's going to be interesting to see these next several episodes. I didn't plan on reviewing each one of them. We'll have to wait and see on this third one. If it wows me more than the second episode, you'll probably see another review, but chances are I may leave it at this. So it'll be very, very interesting heading forward to see if there is going to be a season 24 with these folks. We'll have to wait and see on this deal. A little caveat too, a little bit at least at the end. Chris Evans, the situation where Rory Reid was talking to him, he broke down a little bit about the 675, or well, it was actually in the McLaren F1. Also a little bit about his mother, a tad bit. I have two soft spots when it comes to people who cry that instantly make me cry. And I am not in any way, shape, or form ashamed of this in any way. Well, number one is baseball. I know for a lot of folks around the world, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But people who will cry over an automobile will get me to tear up every time. So I kind of got a little bit more of a sensation where I thought that Chris Evans, I like Chris Evans a lot more now. It just, that particular mannerism, that particular deal, it didn't seem to be fake in any way, shape, or form. If you got to see the extra here, you really got to see it. And I think that that was a beautiful moment. And it shows his love for automobiles. It shows his love for his mother a little bit as well. But it just really shows that love of cars and what cars can do for us real car people. The real car people who really fall in love with these machines. So I just thought that was a little bit better. Again, I'd love to see these guys get a second go round, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be that case. So we'll have to wait and see on all of these fronts. And that's all I thought was worth talking about for this, the Fat Bald Perspective. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.